Welcome to my channel and to this video. Now, I am going to be talking about a subject which for some people might be quite controversial, and I have been debating for some time whether or not I should even make this video, but it's something that I think does need to be talked about, so I'm going to talk about it. But before I do, if this is your first time here, it would be great if you could subscribe. Feel free to leave me a comment in the box below or follow me over on Instagram, Kaz Loves Cakes. I'll also put a link in the description box to my eating disorder recovery podcast. And of course, if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone you think it might be worth sharing with. You've probably figured out from the title, but just in case you haven't, I do want to make you aware this video will contain discussion of eating disorders and, in particular, anorexia. Whilst I'll do my best to ensure not to be triggering, if this is going to be in any way unhelpful for you, please do click off this video. It's important to put your own mental health and well-being first. I don't have any training or background in psychology or nutrition. I only have the fact that I have lived and am indeed still living with an eating disorder for the majority of my life. Everything I say will be my own thoughts, opinions and experiences and should not be taken in place of any professional advice. Right, I'm not monetized. I don't have any sponsors. Let's get into the video. Chances are, if you've clicked onto this video, you are already familiar with the name Eugenia Cooney. However, just in case you're not, she is a young American influencer who rose to prominence for videos on cosplay and makeup, but these days is perhaps best known for having an eating disorder. I personally do not follow Eugenia. I am way outside her target demographic, but I have seen some of her videos, and quite often videos about her by other people come up on my recommendations on YouTube, and this got me thinking because I know she gets an awful lot of hate because she is not admitting she has an eating disorder and she is not in active recovery. I think this is something that can be very polarizing online. If someone is actively in recovery, they get so much love and so much support, which is wonderful. But if they are not in recovery, it's almost as if some people see it as a green light to just hurl all the abuse they want at them. And I don't think that's fair. When I was much younger, there was a period in my life when I did not want to recover. My eating disorder, it wasn't a problem. I didn't want to get rid of it. I would have fought tooth and nail to cling on to it. And I'm not saying that this is where Eugenia is. I don't know her. And I can't see inside her mind any more than anyone else can. I'm talking about myself and my experiences and how she may be feeling. Nobody starves themselves, sometimes literally to the point of death, without having a damn good reason for doing so. An eating disorder is a coping mechanism. It's a way of dealing with thoughts or feelings or events which would otherwise completely overwhelm you. I certainly felt at times that my eating disorder was the only thing keeping me alive, because it gave me a purpose and it gave me a focus and something to aim for. And it kind of anchored me when I felt completely lost. And the thought of losing that was utterly terrifying. That's how I used to feel. I've changed now and I am very much more in the recovery mindset and on the path to recovery. But it's taken me a long time to get here. And just because somebody isn't ready to recover, it doesn't mean they want to be ill. And it certainly doesn't mean they are trying to say eating disorders are fine and they're not a problem. Nobody can recover from an eating disorder unless they want to. You cannot emotionally blackmail somebody into it, and you cannot bully them into it. And I've seen comments on some of Eugenia's videos from people begging with her to stop hurting herself and telling her that they're scared she's going to die. And I know that when I had comments like that, not on videos, I was not online, but from people I knew in my real life, they just kind of washed over me. I really didn't take them in, and they had absolutely no impact on me whatsoever. Eugenia also gets an awful lot of hate. I've seen a lot of comments telling her she's a bad influence, she's dangerous, she should be banned. That is not helpful. That is only going to make the situation worse, because those kind of comments are feeding into the negative voice that is already telling someone with an eating disorder they are worthless, they are awful, they don't deserve to eat. It doesn't do anything to help that person. I know a lot of people leave comments because they are well-meaning, but there are some people who leave them because they want to hurt. And hurting somebody who is already in obvious extreme mental turmoil, if you're doing that, I think you need to take a long, hard look at yourself and what is going on with you that is making you feel the need to do that and feeling that you have the right to do that. Just because somebody isn't in recovery, it certainly doesn't mean that they are trying to promote eating disorders or encourage other people to develop them or engage in behaviours. Now, admittedly, I've not seen a lot of Eugenia's content, but from what I have seen, she's not discussing what she weighs, she's not discussing what she does or doesn't eat or what behaviours she engages in. And she does constantly seem to get a barrage of people asking these kinds of questions. I mean, how would you feel if a complete stranger came up to you in the street and asked you what you weighed? I do know Eugenia is often accused of body checking, and she may well body check, but it's highly unlikely she's going to put videos where she's doing that on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere else for the world to see. Yes, she does wear a lot of revealing outfits, but when she's doing cosplay, she's wearing costumes that characters wear. And a lot of the characters, female ones in games and magazines, they don't seem to be that big on fabric. There's a lot of midriff and cleavage and leg on show. And so if Eugenia is doing cosplay, then when you have a serious eating disorder, losing weight can feel like an achievement. And so you can want to show it off. Not everyone with an eating disorder hides out in baggy clothes and long sleeves. I wouldn't say I was somebody who flaunted it, but I didn't dress to hide it either. I've always been someone who wears fairly fitted clothing, and my style did not change just because my weight dropped. And I think you need to also look at how somebody has dressed, over a period of time. I haven't watched enough of Eugenia to say for certain that she dresses the way now that she did when she first started, but she's still doing the same cosplay. And why shouldn't Eugenia dress in a way that makes her feel comfortable? Why should anyone have to dress in a certain way just because of how their body looks? I had a video that I put out near the beginning of my YouTube channel, And shortly after uploading it, I made the decision to make it private because I thought I looked absolutely horrific in it. Way too thin, way too ill, and I was just not happy having that online. But it's my channel. I can upload what I want and people can watch it or not watch it. That is their choice. It's no different for Eugenia. If she's comfortable dressing like that, that's her prerogative. The main point I'm trying to get to with this video is that I think very often people can be too quick to judge those who are not saying, I have a problem, I want to recover. You don't know what somebody is living with and what is going on inside their head. They may have very good reasons why at any point in time they don't want to get better. It doesn't mean they're always going to feel that way. I do think those who are calling for Eugenia to be blocked or banned from certain platforms are being ridiculous. She is just doing what she has always done. Unfortunately, she also happens to have a severe mental illness, and part of the way that that is manifesting is through extreme weight loss. Banning her is probably not going to be beneficial to her in any way because it's giving her something to do and to think about that is not her eating disorder. And if you take that away, what does she have left? Now, I understand there is an argument that she has a responsibility for the content that she puts out. And yes, she does, as every content creator does. I do understand the argument that Eugenia could be perceived as being a negative influence on some of her younger audience members who may perhaps have their own eating issues or body insecurities. However, I think if somebody is on the road to developing an eating disorder, stopping them from watching somebody like Eugenia, it's not going to stop them from potentially going on to develop that full-blown eating disorder. She's not promoting anorexia as a lifestyle. She's not saying what she does or doesn't eat, does or doesn't do. From what I've observed, she does seem to try very much to keep things on track with the cosplay or the gaming, even though she's got a constant barrage of questions being fired at her about her weight and her appearance. And to be honest, if she loses her temper from time to time because of that, I don't think you can blame her. I mean, how frustrating and annoying would it be to be trying to have a conversation about a particular game or a particular character, and all people want to talk about is the size of your legs? And I do feel she's kind of in a bit of a catch-22 because she doesn't answer these questions about what she weighs and she gets abuse. If she did answer them, she would get abuse. I just think it's so important to understand that not everyone with a mental illness is ready to accept they have a problem. It's the same as somebody with alcoholism or drug addiction. They may not be ready to accept they have a problem. And until they are, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to change. And it doesn't matter how much you beg or plead or try and force them. They need to want to do it for themselves. But judging them harshly and almost punishing them because they're not ready, it harms them more than it does them good. I think that everyone has a responsibility to try and protect themselves from content that they may find triggering. If somebody is watching somebody like Eugenia because it triggers them, they know what they're doing. If you right now are watching me and you are finding what I'm saying triggering, but you are continuing to watch, that's on you. That's not on me. I'm trying not to be triggering. And I don't think Eugenia is trying to trigger anyone. I genuinely believe that, but I don't know. I don't know her. So I understand that if you're a parent of a child, then that responsibility maybe falls a bit more on your shoulders to monitor what your child is consuming online. And I can only imagine how difficult that must be in this day and age. Just a nightmare. But we do need to be responsible for ourselves and our own mental well-being. I am not here to comment on Eugenia's appearance or what I think she should or should not do, how she should dress, how she should act. She's an adult. That's for her to decide. I can have an opinion on it, and I do have an opinion on it, but I'm keeping that opinion to myself because, not that I think she'll watch this, it's only my opinion. I'm a stranger. I don't know her. Why should my opinion matter? If somebody chooses to watch Eugenia, that is their decision. They know what content she puts out. They know what sort of thing they're going to see. They're making that choice. She's not holding a gun to their head and saying, watch me or else. Accepting that somebody you love or care about or greatly admire is not ready or willing to change a behaviour which you can see is destroying them. It's really difficult, but sometimes that's what needs to be done. It doesn't mean that you stop loving them or caring about them or admiring them. You just need to accept that they are not at a point where they are ready for that change. I don't think people should be vilified for being honest enough to admit it, because it's a really difficult thing to admit you don't want to get better. It's really frowned on. But if people are too scared to say that, they can never open up a discussion about, okay, you don't want to get better. Why not? What can we maybe do to change things so that you're in a position where perhaps you feel maybe you do want to consider making some changes? This video is not intended to be a video about Eugenia specifically. I'm trying to make this a more generalized video about being more tolerant and less judgmental towards those who are not yet ready to acknowledge they have a problem or to make a start on that road to recovery. I think you've probably seen and heard quite enough of me for now, so I'm going to end this video here. You don't have to agree with me. We're all individual and we all have our own opinions. This is just what I think, and it doesn't mean I'm right. Take care of yourself, and I do hope you'll come back for the next video. Bye.